What's up, guys? It's your boy Justin with my latest book review. Today we're reviewing Solo Leveling Volume 1 by Chugong. This is, I don't know what you would call this. It's basically like a light novel. It's like an isekai light novel, but if it took place in our world. But I guess it's kind of isekai because the premise of the book is that you have characters, hunters that are people who have awakened like supernatural powers, though some of them are like it's like basically D&D but in an urban setting where they have to go into these gates, which are dungeons, to fight monsters, right, that are like in alternate dimensions. And if they don't clear the dungeons, you have dungeon breakouts where the monsters will come out and attack, will attack people. And in this world, like for whatever reason, guns don't work on the monsters. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the D&D, aspect of the world. So yeah, I was surprised to find out that Soul Leveling was actually based off a book series first, not the webtoon, which is like, the webtoon is like, oh my god, which it was popularized as webtoon, which is basically like a free Korean manhwa, which is this is a South Korean book, by the way. Which, by the way, like, I love how as soon as these webtoons get popular, you can no longer read them for free. You now have to, like, buy them or whatever, right? Which they go for like, on average, $30, which is like $10 more than your average manga. Which is bullshit when you read, considering how crappy the art and webtoons are. Come on, then they're $10 more expensive. What the fuck, dude? Especially if you compare manhwa, like today's manhwa, compared to manhwa from like 2 decades ago. Come on, man. Like, I'm gonna go grab Ragnarok. Here's Ragnarok, by the way. Look at how great the art is compared to fucking South Korean webtoons today. Which I get, they're free, but then it's like, as soon as they get popular, oh yeah, like they're more expensive than manga, this is bullshit. Which, look how great the art style is in Ragnarok compared to the shitty, like, the shitty video game and anime based, that's kind of based off the manhwa, which I reviewed the entire series, by the way, but it was with screenshots of the manga, which is like very hard to find online unless you steal it from scanlation sites, which I didn't do. So yeah, I only have the first 3 volumes physical, which they never finished the series, by the way. So back to this book. So yeah, I'm sorry I had to go on a rant on webtoons, but I went to the fucking mall to pick. I finished this book. This book is only 300 something pages, and the text is super huge, by the way. So even though I'm a slow reader, and this is like 315 pages, I read this in like 2 days, right? So I went to pick up more, which this is like $20, right, Canadian. I went to pick up more, and despite the fact last week at the mall they had like all the, they had like, they had 1 through like 5, right? I go there, they only had 4 and up. They actually had 7 there, which I didn't see last time. But it's like, god damn, within a week someone bought like 2, 3, and 4. So I had to order that, well, volume 2 and 3. So I had to order it at my local bookstore. God damn it. So obviously, I liked this book. If I was like pissed off, I couldn't pick up, volume 2 and 3, which I end up buying this, and this is gonna be my next video. I'm gonna review this manga. So yeah, today I'm reviewing Soul Leveling, which Unlike with a lot, this is published by 100 Yen. And unlike with a lot of light novels, there's not a lot of illustrations. You basically get this one illustration of Song Jin-woo, who looks like a girl in this picture. Like what the hell, dude? So yeah, I didn't like that. But yeah, the book is about basically, it takes place in a world where gates to alternate dimensions that have monsters in them have to be cleared by awakened hunters, which are individuals who have special powers, but most of them are like, either are stronger and faster than your average person, and they're classified, there's no levels, they're classified by ranks from E to S, and E being the lowest rank and S being the highest rank. And our main character, Sung Jin-woo, who's like a 24-year-old who has a younger sister who's in high school and has a mother that's in the hospital because she's like sick with mana deficiency or whatever, which basically in this world there are people who have low tolerance to mana, which that's what separates the hunters from the regular people's mana, right? So people who have low tolerance to it get put in a coma and will eventually die. So our main character, who is E rank, despite being like super weak, is hardly stronger than your average person, has to go into dungeons, risk his life every other day to, support his sister and his mom, which later on you find out he has a father who was also a hunter, who was like, I don't know what rank he was, but he was also a firefighter, which they gave him the same backstory as the guy who has who's the leader of the White Tiger Guild, which there are guilds in this world. So our main character, one day on a dungeon raid, him and his party run into a double dungeon. Which, what happens at double dungeons is that, you have like, a dungeon will have like a separate dungeon, and who knows how strong and how weak the monsters are. And our character gets his ass kicked in like every dungeon, where like the B rank cleric character, who's kind of like his waifu in the beginning of the series, who disappears. Well, not really, but kinda. Always has to stick to him like glue. What was her name again? I forget, man. Yuhi or something. I'm not good at memorizing, despite the fact I watch. Not only Hollywood can contest to this, even though I watch a lot of South Korean movies and TV shows, I'm still like a noob compared to like Japanese, media. So when it comes to Korean stuff, so I don't memorize like even though I've seen the anime, I'm like caught up with the anime. I still like have trouble memorizing this stuff. So what happens is they go into a dungeon, a double dungeon, and they find all these statues, and everybody, it turns out to be a death trap dungeon, like that crappy PS1 game, where our characters have to solve cryptic clues to figure out how to survive in the dungeon. Only for our main character to, despite the fact that he's the weakest, he's able to figure out, he's the smartest of the group, he's able to figure out what they have to do to survive the dungeon, only for him to be abandoned. But by being abandoned, he solves hidden quests, and that's where we get into the video game bullshit, where all these isekai, kind of like anime light novel stories always have to have video game bullshit in their fantasy stories. So he unlocks this basically MMO status menu that gives him hidden quests, daily quests, stuff like that, gotcha game bullshit, and he's able to get stronger and level up and distribute attribute points. So he goes from being E rank to being as strong as like in spoiler alert as strong as an S rank at by the end of like season 1, which this light novel covers this volume basically covers like most of season 1. So it's like the first like 10 episodes. So so after he survives the double dungeon, right? He starts leveling up, becoming super strong, has to deal with like corrupt hunter association people, which are like the watchdogs who watch the hunters, and then he has to deal with other scumbag hunters called lizards who who go on shady raids where they'll sacrifice like lower rank lower rank hunters basically just to use as diversionary tactics while they raid the dungeons for special resources. So that's basically it for the story. I'm not going to spoil anymore. But I was basically surprised that I was able to like, the light novel as I did, because, basically if you ever read watch the anime, the anime, the basic reason why people watch the anime is because it's power fantasy, and 2, you have the flashy, like, high-speed fights, which the fights in the light novel, let's be real, are not very good. But what's really good, and what I like about this series, and I think that's what a lot of people like about the series, is that basically it's a power fantasy, but it's more of a realistic power fantasy, because it's not like a certain isekai show I tried to watch the other day. I got a cheat skill on it. Like in another world, I'm not gonna say the full title, where a guy's like a fat slob who gets bullied for being a fat slob, only for one day gets teleported to another world and kills one monster, levels up like 100 levels, and then becomes like super fit guy overnight. It's like, what the fuck? Something that took me 8 months of weight loss training, and then like another 2 to 3 months of weight training to get ripped afterwards. Like, this guy was able to do one in one night, and it goes to school the next day, and people are like, who the fuck are you? It's like, oh, it's me, the fat fuck slob. It's like, what? Get the fuck out. Oh man, here you actually see the main character work hard to become to go from being basically Asmongold to Andrew Tate. In a matter, he does it in a matter of weeks, but he actually trains hard to do it, right? Like, he fights several monsters. He was too lazy to do the first, daily quest, and ends up getting teleported to a desert world where he has to run away from basically Shalahood, the fucking sandworms from Dune, for 4 hours, or he would die, right? So you actually get to see the transformation and of the main character, and even his personality and his voice kind of changes when he goes from being Asmongold to the fucking Andrew Tate guy. Oh my god. And that's why pretty much everybody likes the book series, because it has a very Sigma male grind set, and that's pretty much the secret why everybody likes the show, And just in a lot of South Korean media, it has to deal with corrupt. Not only Howard, you would probably like this book series too, because it goes into this how obsessed South Koreans are for over money, and they hate corruption, all that stuff. So it's a thing where compared to if I were to compare this to other fantasy novels, this is not great. This is a 5 out of 10, right? But if I were to compare this to light novels, which I am, because it's basically a light novel, even though this is longer than most light novels, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna start reviewing this series until I start working again, which hopefully will be soon, but I don't know. Oh, peace out and happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.